On the 9th of October 1929, a German theologian named Gustav Deissmann was archiving items in Istanbul's Topkapi Palace Library. There he found a section of an old map rolled up on a dusty shelf amongst other disregarded materials and documents. The date on the map showed that it had been drawn in 1513 AD by the highly respected Turkish Admiral and cartographer Hagji Ahmed Muhiddin Piri, who is more commonly known today as Piri Reis, a man who was also known for his many maps and charts, specifically for how accurate they are, considering when they were drawn. It turned out that this map would become considered by some as one of the most recognised examples of advanced geographical knowledge to come out of the Age of Discovery, an era that started approximately at the beginning of the 15th century and lasted until the middle of the 17th century. The strange thing about the map is that it seems to show some features of the Earth which some people believe should not have been known to anyone in 1513. Before the 18th century, sailors were always at much higher risk of colliding into rocky coastlines. This is because they didn't have the ability to calculate longitude. For that, a marine chronometer was needed, but the first one wasn't invented until 1730 by an English clockmaker named John Harrison. This device finally gave sailors the ability to pinpoint their position while at sea. Interestingly, Piri Reis had drawn a map which showed some of the coastlines of Africa and South America within half a degree of longitude, but this was hundreds of years before the chronometer was even made. Other anomalous maps dating back to the 16th century and earlier do exist, of course, but the Piri Reis map is significantly different, since not only does it depict in remarkable detail various coastlines, but included in the map's legend, Piri Reis left a statement saying that the information he used was not built from knowledge based on his own experiences, but from knowledge he considered as borrowed and copied. This is because he based his map on 20 older source maps and other charts. These source maps included 8 Ptolemaic maps from 2nd century Hellenistic and Greek societies, which has some researchers believing they may have actually come from the ancient library of Alexandria. There are also 4 Portuguese maps, 1 Arabic map, and 1 map hand-drawn by Christopher Columbus, which Piri Reis inherited through the will of his uncle, who had personally sailed with Columbus. Unfortunately, none of these sources have ever been located. Since its discovery, the Piri Reis map has raised many questions, causing intrigue, controversy, debate, and mystery, mostly due to the appearance of what some people say is a representation of the northern coastline of Antarctica 300 years before it was discovered in 1773. Even more strange is the suggestion by some that the depiction of Antarctica appears to show it without ice. However, there are arguments against this claim, saying that this landmass is more likely to be the continuation of South America. The map was extensively researched by the geographer and historian Charles Hapgood, who published a book in 1966 named Maps of the Ancient Sea Kings. The book gave detailed technical information in relation to the history of anomalous maps and their correlation to the geographic knowledge of their time. Hapgood claimed that he used mathematical disciplines which included spherical trigonometry to demonstrate the relation between the features of certain anomalous maps and their corresponding geographic locations. Although Hapgood's geographic research was considered accurate by some researchers, the conclusions he came to were thought of as sensational and far-fetched, which led his work to fall under the label of pseudo-archaeology. This is because Hapgood came to believe that an ancient civilization, advanced in seafaring and cartography, surveyed the Earth and created maps based on first-hand knowledge. He then claimed that the maps were likely copied and handed down through numerous generations, and it was one or more of these maps which Piri Reis used to make his own. Following Maps of the Ancient Sea Kings, Hapgood published a book entitled The Earth's Shifting Crust, in which he discussed shifting polar theory. As a result, he became a target for ridicule from the official academic community. This is because they believe he moved details on maps to suit his theories. Many others have also made claims that the map contained other errors that would not be there if it was derived from extremely accurate ancient originals. One example of which is how some researchers believe that the map shows the Virgin Islands in 2 locations. Furthermore, they also don't believe that Antarctica is represented at all. One convincing theory is that the map is possibly showing an area along the coast of southern Chile, known as the Strait of Magellan, seen here rotated 90 degrees to give a clear comparison. Interestingly, on the 16th of July 1960, the US Air Force responded to a letter sent by Professor Charles Hapgood after he asked for an evaluation of the ancient map. This was the response. Dear Professor Hapgood, your request of evaluation of certain unusual features of the Piri Reis Antarctica map of 1513 by this organisation has been reviewed. The claim that the lower part of the map portrays the Princess Martha coast of Queen Maudland, Antarctic, and the Palmer Peninsula is reasonable. We find that this is the most logical, and in all probability, the correct interpretation of the map. The geographical detail shown in the lower part of the map agrees very remarkably with the results of the seismic profile made across the top of the ice cap by the Swedish-British Antarctic expedition of 1949. This indicates the coastline had been mapped before it was covered by the ice cap. The ice cap in this region is now about a mile thick. We have no idea how the data on this map can be reconciled with the supposed state of geographical knowledge in 1513. Harold Z. Ohlmeyer, Lieutenant Colonel, US Air Force Commander. While it may be that Hapgood exaggerated the accuracy of the entire map, and his other theories about its origins do appear far-fetched to many, if genuine, the response he received from the US Air Force makes the map all the more fascinating.